Good morning and welcome to Business Profile on Lifestyles. I'm Charlene Sloan, and today we are talking with Matt Snow from the Biberei, Snow and Sinclair law firm, the Loudon Lawyers, all about divorce.
Good morning.
Good morning. So it's not so pleasant of a topic,
no,
but very important. So what can you tell us about just how the whole process works for divorce?
Well, unfortunately, we get lots of calls about it all the time. It's a very common thing that's going on here. So I think people should understand it's not something to be ashamed about. It's really something to figure out, how do I talk with somebody and get the best advice as early in the process as possible so that good decisions can be made and options are put on the table for folks.
Great. And so what is the first step then? Obviously just calling you and seeing if a lawyer is actually needed?
Yes. Ideally, if somebody is either thinking about a separation or their spouse comes to them and lets them know that they want a separation or divorce, one of the very first things you need to do is to talk to an attorney. Because there are so many moving pieces and a lot of different parts that go on and that have to be considered. You really need to talk to an attorney so you can understand what's going on and what the options are, but also understand what the impacts of the choices are going to be.
And once you've made that decision, how long is the process from start to finish, generally?
It can vary, but most commonly it comes down to either 1 year, if there are children involved, or if there are no kids involved as part of the marriage or no minor children, then it's typically going to be at least 6 months.
Okay, so 6 months to a year for just kind of the average case?
Yes, and mostly that deals with what are called no-fault divorces, because in Virginia, they don't have something called irreconcilable differences, but the equivalent of that is what's called no fault. It basically just says at least one of the parties wants to have a divorce, but what they do require is a separation period, which goes into those time frames I talked about.
Right. And is there a way to generally come up with what the costs might be? I know cost is sometimes important for couples and maybe why they don't do it and they just separate rather than doing a legal divorce. So is there a way to plan for that, or?
A lot of it really depends upon whether things are agreed or whether there's a lot of fighting or contention about what the issues are in the divorce. Most attorneys you're going to find are going to charge an hourly rate, so the most important thing to find out is what the hourly rate for the attorney is. And then the overall cost is going to depend upon how much can be agreed upon versus how much is going to have to be fought over. Basically, the more you fight over, the more it's going to cost. The more you can agree on, the lower the costs are going to be.
And I know this probably sounds like an insensitive question, but is there anything that you can do when you're planning to get married or earlier on that might help you should this situation arise, as opposed to just coming out of the blue and then you're contacting a lawyer and panic ensues and people are arguing? You know, are there any steps you can take to plan for the future?
There are steps you can do. It's actually not very common, but people will look into premarital agreements, and those are certainly things that attorneys like myself or others can help with, where you basically lay out at least some basic framework for how this issue would be addressed moving forward. It's not very common, mostly because people don't find it to be very romantic at the time that they're getting married, but it's something that certainly would help in the long run.
Great. And so can people just call you guys first before they, you know, maybe just to get a consultation over the phone before they decide to come in? And how can they reach you guys?
Yeah. Our phone number is 703-779-2000. That's the easiest way to get a hold of us. Any of the attorneys in our office will spend some time talking to somebody on the phone, really helping them at least identify what the basic issues and help them work through some of the basic concepts. And then after that, if they want to come in and meet with us, we can do that.
Great. Well, excellent. Thank you so much. I learned a lot today.
All right. Thank you.
And thank you for watching us on Business Profile on Lifestyles.